What's going on there, guys? My name is Matt, or Chewy, as most of you will know me as, and welcome to the announcement video of my next tour. If you've been following my Twitch channel for a while, or you've even seen the videos announcing previous tours on the YouTube channel here, you'll have seen that I have been doing various different tours in the past year and a half or so on my Twitch channel. We started off doing a European tour, and once that finished midway through 2017, we did a North American tour. And then once that finished at the end of 2017, up until about March 2018, we did an Asia and Oceania region tour. And so I've been discussing with my community for a little while about what kind of tour we would like to do next. And I came up with the idea of doing something called Around the World in 80 Legs. Now, I'm sure a lot of you will have heard of the film. I think it's also a book as well, but I'm not sure. Around the World in 80 Days. I know there was like a remake of the original film with Steve Coogan and Jackie Chan in it, blah, 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 blah. But I decided to take the concept of Around the World in 80 Days and move it into Flight Sim and go with Around the World in 80 Legs. So I wanted to start ourselves off at London Heathrow and get all the way back around the world, visiting as many different areas of the world as possible, but restricting ourselves to only 80 flights. Now, I say only 80 flights. As I've been planning this tour over the past few weeks, I've realized that that's still a lot of flights. That's certainly going to give us a lot of opportunities to see some absolutely brilliant places. And so today's video, I am simply going to take you around and show you every single leg that we're going to be doing. As a precursor, before I start showing the legs, I'm sure there will be comments, even if I ask not to put the comments in the chat, I'm sure there will be comments from people saying, why didn't I visit here? Why didn't I visit there? Again, because I restricted myself to 80 legs, I've had to miss out various places on the tour. And also, I may not have scenery in that area. So if you're like, wait, why have you missed out this country? It's likely because I haven't got scenery in that region. And so I've missed it out. So please save yourself the logistical effort of typing in, moaning in the comment section if I've missed out your favorite airport. I couldn't please everybody, but I tried to please as many people as I could when planning this one. As another one as well, this is version 1. And so with any of my tours, things may change. There may be 1 or 2 legs altered nearer to the time. If you want to stay up to date with that, I will make this map available to you all so you guys can look at the tour and keep updated if any of the legs change. And when I'm live streaming the tour on my Twitch channel, I will obviously let people know if any of the legs have changed on there in advance. But for the most part, this is our version 1, and this is how the tour will look. So again, very quickly, just before I get into each individual leg, sorry if I forget the developers of every single scenery that I'm going to be talking about across this 80-leg tour here. What I will do is I will put in the description below not only a link to my Twitch channel and this map so you can have a look at it yourself, I will also put a link to every single airport that we're visiting and the scenery that I will be using in that area, so that anybody who wants to fly along with me on the tour or anybody who wants to just fly the tour themselves will be able to check it out. So without further ado, let's get cracking and let's start off in my home continent of Europe, and more specifically, I guess my local for me here in Oxford International Airport, which is London Heathrow. It's marked in green because that's where we're going to be starting. And so leg number 1 will take us to Flytampa's Copenhagen scenery in Denmark. We'll move into the first of 2 legs from there up to Bergen in Norway. Sorry for my pronunciation, I know I suck. And then we're going to head right up north to one of, if not the most northern place on the tour, up to Tromsø in northern Norway. We'll switch across to Finland then and go to Rovaniemi Airport, which is rather famous in my opinion it is. It's the Lapland airport. It's where Father Christmas is, or Santa Claus. We'll go back on ourselves a little bit here and head into Sweden to Stockholm Arlanda, which is Orbeck scenery. And then we'll move forward into the Baltic region, going to Justim Riga in Latvia. We're heading off to Moscow next, and there is still debate as to which airport we visit. I've got 3 sceneries in Moscow. I've got Uniform, Uniform, Echo, Echo, Uniform, Uniform, Delta, Delta, and actually just an hour ago I picked up the newly released Justim Uniform, Uniform, Whiskey, Whiskey scenery in Moscow. So I'm still to decide which of those 3 airports I'm going to visit in Moscow, but we will at least visit the city. Heading down to Kiev next in Ukraine, then over to Warsaw in Poland, and down to Orbex Dubrovnik in Croatia next, which is a rather interesting approach. I love it there. Another interesting approach actually is Genoa in Italy, where after that we will head all the way up to Germany to Hamburg. I had a lot of people saying, why don't you go to Frankfurt? Why don't you go to Munich? Why don't you go to Berlin? I just fancied going to some different places, you know. We've got a lot of like capital cities and a lot of really big airports on here, but I didn't just want to go to always the real generic choices of places. I wanted to change it up and do some different airports that maybe I don't fly to all that often. So that's why I chose Hamburg. Amsterdam is next off there. I couldn't leave out Flight Amsterdam. It's one of, if not my favorite scenery in the simulator. So that's going to be in the tour. And then we will head down to Nice. Again, a lot of people going, why didn't you go to Paris or something like that? Again, I wanted to change it up. So we're off to Nice in France from there. Moving down into Spain, we're going to Almeria. Exactly the same concept as before. We could have gone Barcelona, we could have gone Bilbao, we could have gone Valencia, blah, blah, blah. But I decided Almeria, which is relatively new scenery. Faro is next in Portugal, and that will take us to Funchal or Madeira, which is an absolutely stunning place to fly and a very famous approach. We'll head down to Fuerteventura from there, just south of Madeira, and then we get into the Africa region of the tour. Now, for most of the flights in the Africa region, these will be conducted in X-Plane, so maybe I should have announced that at the start of the video, but not all of this tour will be performed in Prepared. I'm going to change up some legs and do some flights in X-Plane here and there as well, because, well, I've not done a tour leg before in X-Plane. So we'll head to Lagos in Nigeria from Fuerteventura. We'll continue down south to Lubango in Angola here. Again, I'll have links to all of these sceneries once I've got them in the description below. From there, we'll pass Namibia even and head to Cape Town. Apologies for the disconnected line there. I need to fix that. But Cape Town, right on the southern coast of the entirety of Africa there. And again, X-Plane. So Cape Town up to Johannesburg next. From Johannesburg, we'll move out to Mauritius, and most likely here, we'll head back into Prepared, because there's Mauritius scenery and there's scenery from there on that I can do in Prepared. So Mauritius will move up to Kilimanjaro, which I think should be absolutely brilliant fun as well. From Kilimanjaro, we're going to make our way through, well, Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan, and into Egypt with Cairo. From Cairo, we're going to make the small hop to Tel Aviv, and then further up north, Tel Aviv to Larnaca. From Larnaca, we'll head to Heraklion, another really great fun approach, and then up to Taxi to Gates, Istanbul scenery, which is really great scenery as well. Couldn't leave out Istanbul on the tour. We'll then move further east and head to Baku in Azerbaijan, and then down to Dubai. Again, there's plenty of choices for scenery around here. I've got Kuwait scenery, I've got Qatari scenery, I've got scenery all over the place. But at the moment, as of version 1 of this tour, we're only including Dubai. From Dubai, we'll head to Karachi in Pakistan, then down to some really wicked freeware scenery in Sri Lanka, which I didn't hear about until I was planning the tour. And one of my moderators, Nick Creative, actually linked me this scenery in Sri Lanka, and I thought that is perfect because it looks really good quality scenery, and I've never flown to Sri Lanka, so you know, might as well make it my first time on the tour. From Sri Lanka, we'll head up to Bangalore, and then probably the most difficult approach on the entire tour, we're heading up to Bhutan next, and specifically Paro, which if you know anything about the airport, you will know that it's rather an interesting approach. I'm yet to do it, so I think I may have to have a practice before we go in on the tour so I don't mess it up. From there, we'll head to Bangkok in Thailand. Singapore, we are still waiting for Imagine Sim Singapore to be updated. I hope to God by the time that we get to this leg on the tour, it will have been released by then. Otherwise, I have no idea what Imagine Sim are doing with their time. If it's not released by then we'll have to replace this leg with another airport somewhere else on the tour. From there, we'll head to Bali. Again, another stunning approach. Bali down to Broome in Australia. From Broome, we head to Perth, Orbex scenery, which will hopefully be released by this point as well. It's not currently available right now. From Perth, we will go to Alice Springs, right in central Australia in the Northern Territory. And then we'll move down to Melbourne. And from Melbourne, we've got Orbex scenery in, I can't pronounce it properly, Launceston, but in Tasmania. I didn't even know this scenery existed until I was planning this tour. And so I thought it'd be really great fun to go and visit it. From Tasmania, we'll go to Queenstown, my favorite approach in the history of approaches of flying planes virtually in the world. I freaking love Queenstown. It's a beautiful place to fly. Again, Orbeck scenery. From Queenstown, we'll go to Auckland. We are once again waiting on scenery currently being developed to be released here, which is Flightbeam Auckland scenery. So this stop on the tour will completely depend if Flightbeam Auckland is out by this time. If not, we'll most likely go to Sydney, because I haven't included Sydney at the moment on this tour. So if Auckland isn't available, we'll probably come back from Queenstown and go to Sydney. From there, we move up to Gold Coast. This isn't Brisbane scenery. Again, we're waiting for Gold Coast scenery to be released by Orbex, and apparently that's a rather fun place to fly, so we included that. We'll move up to Cairns, and then we'll move out of the Australia region and back into Asia, going to Manila in the Philippines. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, Hong Kong Kai Tak. Not currently open, obviously, and hasn't been for a number of decades. But how could you leave Kai Tak out on a world tour? It's wrong. It would be wrong of me if I did so. And excuse me for the line discrepancy there. I'll fix that again. From Hong Kong, we'll head up to Beijing in China. And then we'll move across everybody's favorite country. Like, this is the most requested place on the entirety of the tour. Pyongyang in North Korea. Like, everybody wanted me to go and visit Pyongyang. I haven't got any scenery there, so I'm sorry we're not visiting Kim Jong-un and his buddies. But from Beijing, we will go to Tokyo Narita, not Tokyo Haneda with the techno brain scenery, because it's, well, yeah, I'm not going to rant on that one. But Tokyo Narita. We'll make the longest trip of the tour out of Tokyo Narita and head into North America next, where we will go to Aerosoft Anchorage, one of my favorites again. I thoroughly love flying into here. I thoroughly love flying in Alaska as a whole, so I thought we'd include another leg in Alaska, and we'll go to Juneau. If anybody knows anything about the Juneau approach, it's not a leg to be missed when we fly it on the tour. We'll then head into the United States of America, and we will go to Seattle. Now, I had a lot of choices around this region. There's Vancouver scenery in Canada. There's all of the different Boeing plants, and there's also Seattle-Tacoma Airport as well. In the end, we decided to go and visit the Payne Everett Boeing field, which is like the main mega factory for Boeing, which has got brilliant scenery. And so that's where we're going to be going. And that was the one that kind of won the vote out of my Twitch community, who helped me to plan this entire tour. From there, we'll head down to one of my favorite sceneries of all time, Flightbeam San Francisco. Again, couldn't miss that one out. And we'll head out of the coast to Honolulu from there, go and do a bit of surfing in Hawaii. From Honolulu, we'll make our way back into mainland North America to Vegas, where I will be visiting in just over a month's time. June, I'm heading to Flight Sim Expo in Las Vegas, so I really wanted to include that. And hopefully, by the time we reach this leg of the tour, we'll have the Fly Tampa Las Vegas scenery released. We do already have FS Dream Team scenery released, but it's not that great. So fingers crossed that Fly Tampa release their scenery for this leg of the tour. From Vegas, we'll head to Denver, Flightbeam Denver, and then down to FS Dream Team's Dallas-Fort Worth. We'll head into Mexico next and go Mexico City. I'm pretty sure this is Taxi to Gate scenery off the top of my head. I don't visit here all too often on the stream, but it's really great fun to fly into. So Mexico City's coming up once we leave North America for the first time. From Mexico City, we will head to Curacao and make our way into South America from there. So Curacao, we will go to Ecuador, and namely Quito. Now, not the new Quito airport. I believe Aerosoft have got some scenery for the old Quito, which again is a very infamous approach in aviation. And so it was really popular for people that we went and visited this one. So we're heading to the old Quito airport. From there, we'll head all the way down to Santiago in Chile, which is the most southern place we'll go in South America. We'll head across from Santiago to Buenos Aires in Argentina, and then we'll make our way back north now to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. My God, my pronunciation is terrible. From Rio, we'll continue up north to St. Vincent. We've got all the little islands here, Dominican Republic, Antigua and Barbados and all of those places. We're visiting St. Vincent scenery. And then another place that I couldn't leave out on the tour, and I think as I zoom in, you'll realize exactly what airport it is. TNCM Princess Juliana International Airport. There was no way I was leaving this one out of a world tour. You have to include it. It's a necessity. From Princess Juliana, we'll head to Grand Cayman, the Cayman Islands, and then up through Cuba and back into North America. Plenty of choices of scenery in North America, but for the moment, this is how it's looking. So we'll head into North America again via Orlando, then up to the busiest, if not one of the busiest airports in the entire world, with Imagine Sims scenery of Atlanta, KATL. We'll head to the base of UPS next, or Louisville. I can't pronounce that correctly. I think some people say Louisville and some people say Louisville. I'm terrible at pronunciation, but we'll head to the UPS hub. Then we'll go to Chicago. Again, waiting on scenery on that one. FS Dream Team are in the process of completely redesigning Chicago because their current Chicago release is very old. So old it's missing an entire runway. So very excited for FS Dream Team Chicago, looking at all of the previews. From Chicago, we'll head to New York, JFK, of course. Then we'll head back to Toronto. Now, there was the option to go from Chicago to Toronto in Canada, then to New York, and then to Boston. But the reason why we decided to do the legs in this way and go Chicago, New York, Toronto, and then Boston is just to extend the flights a little bit, just to make it, a little bit longer on those flight lengths. So we'll head out of Chicago, go to New York, JFK, and then at the moment, our only leg in Canada is Toronto. From Toronto, we'll head to Fly Tampa, Boston, recently updated scenery and one of my favorites again in the simulator. And we will leave North America from there, heading far up north, past Greenland and into Keflavik. It's very, very likely indeed that the Boston to Keflavik leg in Iceland will be on X-Plane, as it will be also incredibly likely that the Keflavik to Glasgow leg, which is the next flight, will also be in X-Plane. So we'll head back into the United Kingdom via Glasgow. We'll then move to Belfast in Northern Ireland, Cardiff in Wales, and then we are back where we started in London Heathrow. If you've been keeping track of that, that is 80 flights in total, starting at London Heathrow and finishing in London Heathrow. And at an estimate, I used, there's like a ruler tool or like a length tool you can use on Google My Maps, which is the bit of software that I created this tour on. And you can see the distances. So I just linked up every single leg and had a look at what the distance would be. And we're looking at about 125,000 kilometers of travel from start to finish. So that's it. That is our tour. London Heathrow to London Heathrow around the world in 80 legs. Now, I know a lot of people have been asking me when this is going to start. So I thought I'd leave it to the end of the video to see who actually has been watching the video and who has stayed till the end until I announced when the video started. So the first stream of the first leg from London Heathrow to Copenhagen will be on Tuesday, the 8th of May. That is when we will be kicking off our world tour. We'll probably do a couple of legs during that live stream. And the plan is every single Tuesday after May the 8th, we will do at least one leg of the tour. If you want to keep updated with any changes to the schedule and any days where I may do a tour route on another day of the week, like a Thursday, or maybe this massive long haul from Japan to Anchorage we'll do on a Wednesday kind of thing, then again, please feel free to join my Discord server or keep up to date with the Streamlabs schedule counter on my my Twitch channel. If you have any questions or queries or feedback or anything like that, please don't forget to leave it in the comments section below. But yes, 8th of May is when we will be starting this tour off. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I cannot wait to get this one underway. It's probably going to take us well over a year to complete this tour on stream. And of course, you are all more than welcome to fly along. Thank you so much for watching the video and for supporting me both on Twitch and here on YouTube as well. You guys are the best. I will see you on the 8th of May. Happy landings.